David, the creator of the TV sitcoms Curb Your Enthusiasm and Seinfeld, was at a football game. During half-time, the camera crew decided to put Larry's face up on the big TV screens. Immediately, 50,000 people cheered, and Larry felt fantastic. But then later on in the evening, when Larry was in the car park, someone went to the trouble of slowing down their car, winding down their window, and they yelled, "Larry, you suck." In an interview, Larry said this one individual ruined his entire evening. Questions kept running through his mind. Who would say that? What type of person would say that? It was as if 50,000 people never cheered for him. His mind would only focus on that one person. By show of hands, who here wants to be less like Larry and have greater control over what you focus on? Thank you. Tonight I'm going to talk about attention and why where you place yours is very important. It seems like a trivial thing to talk about, but where you place your attention is very important. It's one skill that is transferable to every other area in your life. The first thing to recognize about attention is that it's where you place your awareness. And just like Larry learned, what you choose to focus on will determine what type of experience you have. Attention is also important for productivity. But there is one really big myth a lot of people think is true, but isn't. And that is multitasking. A study showed every time you check your email and text messages, your IQ drops temporarily by 15 points. Every time you focus on something new, it consumes the limited amount of energy available in your brain. There's only so much glucose that can be used. If you're trying to work in an environment where things are constantly competing for your attention, your productivity is going to nosedive. Intuitively, we all know this, but now more than ever, it's important to remind ourselves of this. Technology has created for us an ocean of distractions, and has led to us having very bad attention habits. And bad attention can prove very costly. Of 1,000 people who had a car crash, over 500 of them said their mind was wandering just before they crashed. Attention is like a muscle. If you train it well, it will grow. Here's something simple you can do to train yours. Focus only on one thing, and every time your mind wanders away from it, bring it straight back to what you're focusing on. This is the equivalent to lifting a weight for your mind. Get into the habit of doing this, and you have greater control over what you focus on. This is also when humans are happiest. When we completely submerge ourselves in one task, our life satisfaction goes up. But the hardest part about focusing is when the reptilian part of our brain fires up. This usually happens when we are stressed. And this is the oldest, most primitive part of our brain. And it usually becomes engaged when we've had an argument with somebody, or the deadline for a project has been brought forward. When this part of our brain becomes active, blood literally flows away from the front part of our brain, the part responsible for focusing. An oversimplified but useful analogy is to think of the relationship between the reptilian part of our brain and the front part like a seesaw. When the reptilian part becomes engaged, resources flow away from the front part. Likewise, if you engage the front part, it will quieten down the activity in the reptilian part of your brain. Here are two real simple things you can do to get your mind in a state much better able to focus. Researchers have found the quickest way to relax is to take a 15-minute walk in the countryside. Second to that is to listen to feel-good music. remember it's like a muscle. Get into the habit of training it. And finally, I'll leave you with a quote from the intergalactic philosopher Yoda from Star Wars.